Hello, welcome to Motor Mouth, brought to you by the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles. I'm Kendra.
I'm Dan.
Good job.
We practiced that part for a long
We
time.
did. We rehearsed forever. We're here in the Reading Diner, which is part of the museum, and we'd like to start out here. So we'll give you a little bit of announcements and information on the museum, and then we're going to move out into the gallery. We've got a special guest, both human and car guest.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the museum is located at 85 South Walnut Street here in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. And we're open Tuesdays through Sundays, 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if you'd like to contact us, feel free to give us a call. The phone number here is 610-367-2090. Or send us an email, mail, M-A-I-L, at boyertownmuseum.org. Or visit our website, www.boyertownmuseum.org. And if you can't get your question answered on the website, send us an email or drop us give us a call.
A call.
A call. Well, this is August. This is our August show, and we have to mention on the August show our big event that's going on 50 years. Just like the museum is celebrating 50 years, so is our big annual Duryea Day car show, car, truck, and motorcycle show. And that takes place at Boyertown Community Park, which is off on Madison Street here in Boyertown. Beautiful park, partially shaded, which is key.
Yes,
very key.
This is a good day today for
Yes,
shade.
This is a hot day that we're filming.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if you've ever been to a car show that's all on asphalt or in an open field in the hot sun, it gets warm pretty fast.
Right.
So Boyertown Park, I'd say about half the show is in the woods, or
Right.
in the shade. So
Right.
it's nice. You can take a break from the sun. Great show. Last year we had 600 and some cars, trucks, and motorcycles attend. And it's always the Saturday of Labor Day weekend. So that means this year it will be Saturday, September 5th. And that show is from 9 a.m. to 4 over at the park. But the museum is open too. And if you go to the park and pay your admission, which is very reasonable, I must say, it's $5 admission for adults. Your admission to the park also gets you into the museum. And we have a trolley taking passengers back and forth between the museum and the park all day. And that is a free trolley ride, so it's a great deal.
I think it's a bargain.
It really is. Go see 600 and some cars,
Mm-hmm.
and then come here and see about almost 100 vehicles that you're probably not going to find anywhere else. So it's a really good bargain.
All right.
And we also have live music at the park. We have 2 bands that play throughout the day. We have
Food.
plenty of food. Yeah, food. That's very important. Plenty of food. Things for the kids to do as well. And we hope to see you there. If you have a car or a truck or a motorcycle, we'd love to see more motorcycles especially, that you'd like to show at Duryea Day. The registration forms are available on our website, or again, just give us a call and we can mail you one. And it's a great show, and I think to register your vehicle is affordable as well.
Right.
There's a special discount for pre-registration as opposed to day of show. So if you're interested in coming, really the best bargain is for you to register early. So again, visit our website or give us a call if you'd like a registration form. And then September is going to be a busy month because in September, on Saturday the 19th, we are going to be having a grand opening of our Jeremiah Swinehart Carriage Factory. I think last month when we were outside to start, we were sitting right in front of that building out there. You could see it behind us. And this building is the original 1872 building. We've restored it. It looks absolutely beautiful. It has fully functional machine belt-driven machinery up there. It's a really, really neat experience. We're really looking forward to opening it. It's been a several-year-long process
Right.
to get it working. But that's really where carriage and vehicle building began here on our site, is in that building. So
Right.
we'll be opening that Saturday, September 19th, 10 a.m. to 2. We'll have food.
Food.
That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we
Oh, yeah.
start our shows in a diner. We're all
Yeah.
about the food.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's really all I really have for now, except I'll just put save the date out there for our next diner day right in here, which is going to be Saturday, November 7th. So that's really the big stuff coming up.
And if I remember right, November 7th isn't just diner day. It's not just another day of the year where we come in a diner.
It is the most special day of the year.
And you're gonna be celebrating your birthday.
Yeah, I'll be 21.
Okay. Yeah. So you can have a hunk of pie and some coffee.
Yeah,
Cool. Okay.
I'll put a candle on one slice
Yeah.
just
All
for
right.
me.
Yeah. Oh, all right. If nobody takes it.
Yeah, if nobody takes it.
Okay. So that brings us up to date with everything, and we have a special guest here, and his name's Sam Fiorani. If you've watched our other show that we have, he's been a special guest on that a number of times. Well, we pulled him into this show, and so
He couldn't get away.
Yeah, he couldn't get away, and he's going to be talking about the Radnor Hunt, which is a local concourse. And anyway, why don't you just kind of step into camera range here, Sam?
Hi, Sam.
And kind of briefly tell us what the Radnor Hunt is.
It's a car show, unlike most car shows. Cars don't just show up to this one, it's by invitation only. And the events are going on from the 11th to the 13th of September, but it culminates in the car show on Sunday, the 13th. About 100 cars are invited to the main show, but over the years we've expanded to other fields where we have exotic cars and sports cars,
Right.
and a nice field of motorcycles.
Yes.
We would love to get them up here for you. But the motorcycles are classic motorcycles going way back about 100 years. And the field is just peppered with beautiful cars dating back 100, 110 years, all the way up to the 70s.
Now, when you say invitation only, and it's 100 cars, say I or anyone in the audience went to Radnor last year, would they see the same 100 cars this year?
No, the cars turn over every year. We'll get some of the most spectacular cars you've ever seen on the field, but we get another group of them the next year. And
Amazing.
It's amazing to see these cars year after year.
And being there by invitation only, I'm sure there's a certain process in choosing them, so you kind of get the best of the best.
Absolutely. These cars are fantastic.
Yes.
And you'll find car shows every weekend everywhere around the country. But when you look for the concourse shows, in this region, there's Hershey, there's one in Maryland. They're very limited in this area. And when you get to this show, this bubbles up to one of the best.
Yeah, it is. I was there 2 years ago. You were there last
I was
year.
there last year, yes.
And Radnor too. Can you just tell us about where that is? It's in Malvern,
It's in Chester County, and it's just off of.
Route. We'll post.
We'll post the address.
Yeah,
later.
we'll post the address later.
But it's with the Radnor Hunt Club, and it's a spectacular field where they typically have horses running around. But during the show, we'll have horses and carriages on demonstration. It's overlooking the beautiful fields where the horses normally run, and it's right behind the Hunt Club. It's a really nice place to have it. Usually these are on golf courses and stuff. This one ranks right up there with that.
Yeah, it's really nice. Chester County, of course, is just beautiful, and right in the fox hunting, heart of fox hunting, really, what's still here. And like you said, the carriage demonstrations, which is really neat. They come all dressed in the regalia, the very English style, and they have these really fancy carriages. So it's almost it's like here. There's a little something for everybody. There's the horse-drawn, there's the cars, there's the motorcycles. So.
I can bring kids there and they'll find something they'll love. They range from sports cars of the 70s to brass era cars to pedal cars.
A little bit of everything. Exactly.
And so, Sam, you invited somebody, and we invited you to come to the show, and you invited somebody who brought a vehicle here, and who's also involved with that. So why don't we go out and look at the car and talk to this car owner here, okay?
Let's do that. We brought Mike Casale here to introduce his car and some pedal cars that will be at the representative cars at the show. Mike, can you tell us about your collection?
Sure. The Packard is a 1930
Over here.
model 733 Roadster. It's a fully restored vehicle. Won the national at Hershey about 15 years ago, and it's a very striking car with side mounts and wire wheels and a great color combination of dark yellow, light yellow, highlighted in red.
It's a spectacular mixture of the three colors. It's brash. It's
Brash.
bold.
Now, you know, I look at these cars here. You look at a lot of cars from like 1930, that era, and they're pretty dark and, you know, all the same. Now, obviously, this is nice and bright. And also, obviously, because it's a Packard, the person who would have owned it would have had some more money. And so, could you get a custom color from the factory like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Packard offered several different colors. You got to remember that our dark years were in the 20s when the Depression, and as we got into the 30s, we wanted to be more lively, so that's when different colors were introduced across the board in many of the manufacturers.
And I also believe that the paints were getting better too. They lasted longer. And, you know, I've heard of stories about the cars back then in the 20s and earlier, of course, you know, that they'd fade and you had to get them refinished and all that. So
Refinished and polished, you know.
polished. So,
You know.
so what else can you tell us about this car?
It's an inline six-cylinder. It's a three-speed standard transmission. It has a rumble seat.
Rumble seat, yes. So passengers, what, 5 passenger, I guess you would say?
Three.
3.
Yeah, it's a roadster, so it's 2 in the front, 1 in the rear, maybe 2 in the rear.
Okay.
A little tight.
A little tight.
So, okay, so we brought this car in as kind of a representative of the types of cars seen at Radnor.
Oh, at Radnor this year, the marquee that we're doing is Packard. So
Okay.
consequently, we're showing you a Packard that, you know, there are going to be several Packards on the field. I'm going to guess somewhere around 30,
Okay.
from one-offs to production cars to mid-50s cars that are very, very bright, a lot of accessories. I mean, we can walk around the vehicle.
Okay.
and-
In 1930, this Packard was one of the luxury brands, one of the main luxury
Yes.
brands in America.
Oh, it's Packard somehow survived the Depression into the 40s all the way up into the 50s, and then they disappeared in the later 50s. So it's a very well-appointed vehicle. The top does disappear. It's a pretty car for its time.
Now, when you say disappear, you put the top down and it goes underneath a metal cover,
Yes.
right? Okay. Okay. Now, you drive this, I assume.
Yes.
Do you drive it a lot or just
It
certain
gets
occasions?
exercised.
Yeah, that's, you know, I'm so used to my car, which is only 3-4 years old, and I know how that travels. How would something like this ride compare to that? I mean,
Compared
as
to a modern
even as a
car?
luxury car.
This is a little bit of a dinosaur. It does not have power steering, so
Right.
that's the reason for the large
Right.
steering wheel, so you
So,
can
muscle.
wrestle the steering around. It has a tendency to bump steer, so if you hit a bump in the road, it'll
Right.
change direction. You know, it's bias ply tires, so consequently, you know,
Kind of wanders a bit.
wanders quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's a heavy car, so at 55, 60 miles an hour, you have to pay attention.
Okay, but you can go 55, 60
Sure.
easily? Okay. It's a Packard, of course you can. So,
And what kind of gas mileage would we get?
That I have no clue. I'm going to guess back then gasoline was in the 15, 18 cents a gallon, so mileage was not really a concern.
and I have a feeling somebody who owned a Packard really wouldn't be concerned about
Probably
gas
not.
either. Yeah. So, let's continue around.
One of the features with a vehicle with a rumble seat was it did not have trunk space. So it would have a carrier and then an added-on trunk to carry your spares. If you went away for the weekend, you could pack your
Yeah.
overnight belongings in there, and it's you know, it's a necessity. So
Quite literally a trunk.
yes, exactly. Now, modern day cars, of course, the trunks are part of the vehicle, and you really don't see them.
Right.
Where's the release for the rumble seat?
It's inside.
Now, we have a LaSalle over here in our collection, and with a rumble seat, and I'm trying to think, 29 ours might be, so, you know, same size of car, same era, and I've never sat in it, but somebody on the show sat in that rumble seat, and he was shorter than I was, and he could just barely fit in that. So I'm not thinking it was made for full-grown adults too much.
It is. It looks pretty comfortable. You're welcome to try it.
Okay.
You know, you
Well, maybe when the camera's off. I don't want. I'll fall and it'll be embarrassing. So.
We can get you a date to ride around back there if you want.
Yeah, good. Now, I noticed you can't see this on camera, but there's a door on the side, and that door is commonly called
The golf bag door.
golf bag door. Now, I've always wondered, is that what they called it back then in
Yes.
1930? Was
Yeah.
for golf bags?
Well, roadsters were a gentleman's vehicle that you know he dated with or went out with the guys, and of course golf was a pretty popular sport back then, so that's the place to keep your golf
Right.
bags.
And
It has
so-
room for two.
So I'm looking at a door. It might be what, about 20 inches by 15, you know, like that, and it just slides down. I've also thought, if you were in a rumble seat and you dropped something on the floor, about the only way you could pick it up is probably through access of this door.
It's possible,
So,
yes.
so it's kind of interesting that, you know, they did have a door, and I'm sure it was used for more than golf bags or golf clubs.
We
so.
said it would fit two bags of golf, but
Yes.
it's obviously not modern golf bags.
No,
That's
exactly.
about the size of a modern golf bag.
Back then you had 4 or 5 pieces and a leather bag and, a
not
towel. And,
bag this big around. either.
exactly.
Yes. So the door is not separate from the rumble seat? The
No.
compartment?
No, it's not.
Goes right into...
It shares the
Well,
space.
Now, when you acquired this car, was it pretty much in this shape, or
Yes.
did you? Okay.
The only thing we really did was detail it. It was purchased locally in Ballackinwood,
Okay.
and Christmas week about 15 years ago, and I drove it from Ballackinwood to my shop in Skippack.
Okay. So.
It's a nice Christmas present.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you say detail, just cleaning stuff
cleaning.
and maybe touch up paint here and there, or maybe not even paint.
Oh, I don't exactly remember what we
Really?
did. but-
Okay. Okay. And I noticed another thing on the other side. If we could kind of wander around the front. I'm a big person with like accessories, aftermarket stuff, and I see it has a spotlight here,
Yes.
and I just thought that's pretty neat. And I'm looking at this, and I guess to move the spotlight around, you just kind of hung your arm out the window.
Correct.
Okay.
You did have a thumb screw here to remove it,
Right.
so you could take it and shine it on.
Okay.
The reason for the spotlight was to find your addresses,
Right.
because we did not have street lamps back
Mm-hmm.
then. So consequently, when you were going to a friend's house, you know, you were looking for the address,
Right.
which were back then usually by the front door mounted on the building. So,
I could see me driving this car at night and turning this on and catching this mirror and blinding myself. But that's a whole nother thing. So that's interesting. And I also noticed the grill guard on the front, which I assume was a genuine Packard accessory.
it is. It's a
Okay.
stone guard.
Stone guard. Yep.
Back then, the grills and the radiators were together. So consequently, when you're driving in the poor roads, if you picked up a stone,
Right.
you had to protect it from piercing the radiator and calling the tow truck.
So.
But this one has adjustable grills on it?
That's actually they're thermostatically controlled. So as the engine warms up, they open up also.
Okay.
So as to give some temperature, allowing the engine to warm up quicker, better performance. Cold engines are a little stumbly, and that's the reason
Okay.
for that.
Now, I've also noticed a lot of Packards from this era have solid disc wheels. This has wire wheels. Did they have both choices back in
Disc
1930?
wheels were basically in the larger vehicles,
Oh.
740 series,
Okay.
77 series. The cars were heavier. This is a sports car, so consequently it had wires.
Okay. Sports car. Yeah. Okay.
My kind of sports car.
It is. Yeah. So.
So can we show you the representative of the smaller cars?
Sure.
Go from the luxury cars to the
Up
kiddie cars.
and on sidewalks and in driveways, as long as the real cars. An example of that would be an 1898 Ferry, which resembles a horse and carriage.
Right.
Early cars did the same, and as time went on, they kept up with styling. So, the American National would be a car from the 20s and 30s. This happens to be a 1929 Stutz, all original, not restored. And then later on, the Steelcraft 1941 Chrysler.
Okay. Now this one here, I was looking at this. This looks heavy.
It is very heavy.
Yeah, a heavy, like 100 pounds.
It's about 85.
85. Okay.
But
Which is
how easy is it for a kid to move it?
that's what I was thinking.
Well, it is, shouldn't say geared, but the levers inside, the pedal levers are over center.
Okay.
So it's pretty easy to do, to operate.
So a 60 or 70 pound kid could move an 80 pound car.
With a little challenge in the beginning. But,
Okay.
you know, if you had something like this when you were 7, 8 years old, you were
Oh.
talking a neighborhood.
In the 60s and 70s, they were a stamped steel, one piece body, whereas this has multiple pieces attached to it.
It has wings and running boards. It has a grill, lights, a side mount. This one was a roadster. It had a convertible top at some point in its life.
Now you mentioned the lights, and I was looking at them earlier. Were they electric lights on this, or?
They could be. This model did not.
Okay, because I noticed it did have like a glass
Little
lens
lens,
in it,
yeah.
so that's I wanted to ask that.
Earlier about other models like this, some were upholstered, some had electric lights and electric accessories.
Yes, they did. They basically wanted to make it as close to the real vehicle as they possibly could. So Steelcraft and American National, Toledo Wheel, Gendron, they were all trying to produce vehicles that for children that their parents had.
And all the brands. Like
And all
you
the
said,
brands.
The Stutz here, the Chrysler there.
Correct.
Now, I remember when I was a kid, the pedal cars were similar to that Chrysler one. You know, they look more like a 50s car, kind of bulbous, I guess the word would be. And I always wanted one. So mom and dad, if you're watching this, you know, you can buy me one still. That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't ride around in it, but I just always liked those cars. And neighbor kids had them. I never did though.
No,
So,
I was looking into them recently, and the cars were like Edsels or Ramblers, the ones that we had as kids, but nothing like these guys.
Oh, even in the 60s and 70s, the company would be Murray. Murray
Right.
was a bicycle manufacturing company, and they produced cars in the 50s and 60s into the 70s. And you look at your Chevy, your sad-face Chevys, that was a very popular one. And then later in the 60s, you had the Mustang and the Fairlane. In the 70s, you got into, which is really rare, a GTO, a Pontiac GTO. And then it just kind of fizzled out.
yeah.
You mentioned, do you have the Cadillac?
I have a Cadillac, yes.
And I was reading that they sometimes would give those away with a full-size Cadillac
Yes.
purchase.
Yeah.
It was spectacular. It was a nice little 50s era Cadillac styling, but on this scale.
So,
You go to the Hershey car show and you wander around through the flea market and you see these for sale, or maybe somebody has it restored and they have it on display sort of for everybody to look at. And some really neat ones there. A lot of neat ones there. So
now they can be very flamboyant. I've seen Della Hayes. I've seen two-place Packards
okay.
with completely trimmed interior and
Wow.
roofs, and they're really neat vehicles.
And then there's places that make parts for them too. Maybe
Yes.
not all the different models, but more popular ones, of course. And I think, is it Speedway Motors out in
Speedway does.
out in Nebraska?
Yes, they do a very good job
Yeah.
of supplying
I've seen their catalog.
about 3 different manufacturers spare parts for them.
So it's amazing what's out there. Everybody thinks of the old car hobby, having parts for it and this and that, such as yours and other ones in the museum here. But it has gone down to, the pedal cars too.
Get them young.
Get them young. Yep.
Yep, start them out young, and what's nice about it is it's basically art, and in the space of a full-size car, you could put a dozen of pedal
Right.
cars and
Right.
have a really neat collection.
Yep.
That's my problem. I started with big cars. I could have put more of these in my garage that way.
So,
Well, if I remember, didn't you have like an MGB in your garage?
MG Midget.
Midget. Yeah. See.
Slightly bigger than this.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Seats twice as many people.
No, these cars, the metalwork on these, the upholstery, the accessories are great. And then we've got them replaced by these plastic cars in the
Yeah.
70s and 80s. And
well, you had to keep up to with the times because you had the Corvette, which was plastic. So-
but a little Tykes Cozy Coupe doesn't look anything like a Corvette. These are beautiful cars. And watching someone pedal down the street in this and then being pushed down the street in a Cozy Coupe, I'm taking this.
So,
Okay.
well, there you
Mike?
have it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks for bringing your car again. And,
Alrighty.
I'll be over in Google at it more after we're off camera when we're done with the show, because that's a great
We'll cram you in the
car.
rumble seat.
Huh?
We'll put you in the rumble seat.
Well, I'll try. Yeah, those steps are kind of high for an old guy like me. Older. So, okay. Okay. Right now, we're going to go back to the Radnor Hunt and talk a little bit about that. Sam was talking, it's a concourse type show with cars by invitation and such. Sam also has an official capacity within that show, which is what?
Co-head judge.
Co-head judge, okay? So my question is, being these cars are by invitation only, how do you judge them? Because, you go to a regular car show and they have, a whole row of 57 Chevys and you can judge them, one against the other. How do you do it? And we have an example right behind us at Chrysler Town and Country. We'll make believe this is one. What do you look for?
When you go to one of these shows, there's usually about 40 judges, and they'll be split off into their specialties. Some of them are sports car people, some of them are brass car people,
Right.
and usually at least one in each group has an in-depth knowledge of that type of vehicle. I've judged with, I'm usually a utility player, so I'll judge with anyone they need another person for. But I find the other people on the team know everything, the
Yeah.
intimate details of these cars. And so they'll go through the car, and in our judging, some Concours events have points judging, where you have a 100-point score sheet, and you have to fill in those judging. Then there's French judging, which is just looking the car over and figuring out which is the best of the group. And so you'll look over the restoration of the car if it's restored, look how preserved it is if it's not, condition of paint, condition of chrome, condition of wood, and interiors. And then ours, we don't open the hoods, but some shows they have to start the engine to make sure it runs, and you get all the details of what makes a beautiful car.
Okay. Go ahead.
So really, you could have an engine in there that doesn't fit with the car, and it wouldn't affect the judging of that car
Depending on the show, yes.
at a Concours, at a Radnor.
Well, at Radnor, I believe you do not have to look at the engine.
Okay.
But if someone did open the hood,
Then
it's up to the judge's choice. And if he sees two cars that are really nice and yours does not have the original engine, he's going to go with the other one.
Okay.
Okay. So, and I'm sure cleanliness is right at the top there.
These cars are
Everything's-
detailed beyond
Yes.
what you could imagine.
Mhm.
There
Yeah.
are professionals who do this for a living. Just go around to car shows and detail these cars.
Wow.
They are. You can eat off these cars. They're beautiful.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. They are gorgeous, flawless. It seems. to my
Okay.
eye.
I was, boy, now I'm lost for words. I was going to ask something else, but
If it's something that has been restored, do you look at how accurate a restoration it is then?
Like I said, you usually have an expert who would know these things, and they will compare it to what is the perfect car. I always go back to Corvette people, because Corvette restorers are insane. They
I've
will.
heard stories.
There is a whole organization of Corvette restorers, and Corvettes are restored to such levels that they sell the boots that the people used when they put the markings on the engine, so that the person who is restoring the engine and putting the markings on the engine can have the same boots
Wow.
on. The one show I was judging at, I was in charge of mid-50s Corvettes, and we went down the row. Actually, it was mid-60s Corvettes, and went down the row. And the first car, I noticed this overspray on the engine. Like, oh, I gotta mentally take off for that one. So I get to the second car, and it has the same overspray. I get to the third car, it has the same overspray. These cars are supposed to have that overspray. So now I have to go back to the first car and
Oh,
rejudge
God.
all of them, because that's how they're supposed to be. They're supposed to have the overspray on the front. They're supposed to have the chalk marks, the crayon marks on the inside, every detail.
You know what's interesting about that, and this is kind of getting away from Concours judging, but I've noticed that the Corvette, they have their standards and stuff, and it's the National Corvette Restorer Society, I
Right.
believe it is. And you know, I've heard of this Bloomington Gold, which is the top of the top, and you know, that's been around for a number of years, but I've started to know, or I started to see that being trickled down to other different car makes. You know, you see muscle cars with that, and you see this and this and this, and it's just bringing the level of restoration up, and also kind of, I guess you could say, the preservation of how these cars are put together. It's not preservation because you're redoing it, but they're preserving that look and the idea how it was made years ago.
Yeah, with Corvettes, they're relatively modern cars.
Correct.
They've only been around for 70 years, so 60 years. And so the relatively modern cars, when you get to the 40s and the 30s and the 20s, there are fewer of these cars. They've built 1.5 million Corvettes
Right.
from 53 on. When you
Easy
get beyond,
standard to look at.
right, and they've only had 7 generations of the car,
Mm-hmm.
and only a handful of body styles, so you can literally track all of them.
Right.
When you get to coach-built cars, each one is different.
Right.
Each one is unique to itself, and so you have to judge it on its own merits.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Now I belong to the Model T Club, one of them, and you know they'll say, well, in this certain years they use this diameter rivet, and then you know after this year they went to a different diameter rivet for the same two pieces getting connected together, and you know they really make a big deal about that, and they really study this. And,
You'll
charts
find
and
experts in every car.
Yeah.
I,
Yep.
I once ran across a gentleman who restored Tuckers. They built 51 Tuckers, but he could tell you the difference between early and
Wow.
late Tuckers. And
Wow.
the gas tank moved after half of them. So there were significant differences. So they could tell
Wow.
you the difference. And these guys are
Gosh.
are very particular about what they
Yeah.
know. I know cars. They know cars.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they really know them. Yes.
So-
Like the cars like this, where you have a really nice paint job, but you have detailed woodwork. I love this car because of the woodwork, because this is cabinet quality. This is
Correct.
This is
Yeah.
furniture quality woodwork, from the way all the pieces are put together to the dovetailing in the wood back here. When you see this stuff and how many different talents it takes to restore this car,
Right.
and then judge all those people.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who did the bodywork, the guy who did the paint, the guy who did the upholstery, the guy who did the woodwork, the chrome work, the glass work,
Right.
everything. It's hundreds or thousands of hours.
Oh, yeah.
It's generations of experience going
Mm-hmm.
into the person who did it. It's fun to judge, but there's so much to pick up on, and I
Yeah.
learn something every time, because
Yeah.
somebody will go, well, did you know that the 47 only came this way? And I did not know that. The 47 only came that way.
But I guess you have to go with that open mind too. So
Absolutely. When
you know,
when you're
you
judging,
don't want to feel like you are getting judged, but you want to look at it as being an educational experience.
I appreciate the knowledge of all the other judges, and
Right.
I always learn something, because I'm always with a guy who has just restored a 1963 Cobra and can tell me what makes it special from any other year or any other engine in that car, and there's always so much detail to learn, and it's never ending.
Wow.
Okay.
Sorry, just a few if you don't mind. A few
Please.
questions about Radnor this year, or any year. Do they have a theme that they do every year to sort of focus which 100 cars they invite, or?
The cars in general are a great group of cars, but then they'll have a side group of, as Mike mentioned, Packard is a featured brand this year.
Okay.
They've just started the pedal cars a couple years ago, where they have a side group of pedal cars. Since the beginning, we've had motorcycles. We've had vintage motorcycles, and it's just incredible. They've added this another side area where they have more modern cars. But they always have a special mark, and usually a special body style or type of vehicle that's judging. Last year was open-wheeled and Chrysler,
Okay. All right.
and this year we're featuring Packards.
Packards are my favorite.
Yes. Remember going through that before with you.
Might be hard to keep me away.
You'll get along with my wife.
So, yeah, I think it's pretty good. What
Okay.
else did we forget?
I don't know. I
We'll
think
remember as
we
soon as
covered
the
everything.
camera gets
Oh yeah,
out.
that's supposed to
I'm
happen.
just going to drive the Chrysler home now, so you
All
guys,
right,
you guys
see
can do
ya.
whatever you
Okay.
want.
Open the door for you. All right, well, we're here at our 1907 Dragon, which we've talked a little bit about on this show before, but I don't think we've done a full-blown.
I don't think we have.
Sometime we will. But, you know, we've been talking about Radnor this evening, and we've taken some of the museum's cars to the Radnor Concours, and this is the one that we took last year.
Yes, and we did, and this is a spectacular car, I think, because of the bright
It is.
blue color and
It's
the
a
brass
neat
and
color.
stuff.
It's eye-catching.
And we got some sort of an award with this, right?
Some sort.
Yeah, some sort. Yeah.
Making fun of me.
Yeah.
We got this car won the Junior Judges award. So they have youth that want to learn how to judge, you know, and they cast their vote for their favorite, and this is
what
what they
voted on.
picked,
Which
so-
I thought was neat because, you know, this was the oldest car at the show.
Yes,
and they
it
picked
was.
it. There were Corvettes there were Ferraris, there's all sorts of things. They picked this one, so.
And it's neat because last month we talked about getting youth
Correct.
involved in the hobby,
Yes.
and this car struck a nerve with those youth, which was neat to see.
Yep.
So.
Okay, let's go see another car that has visited Radnor.
Okay, so this is our 1910 Acme, and this was built in Reading, Pennsylvania, and we took this 2 years ago. This was the first time I went to Radnor, and we actually also took along with it an Acme bicycle. Because Acme,
That's right.
That's right.
Yes,
the car
I forgot
company
about that.
started out in bicycles, and we have a beautiful ladies model bike that Acme had built. So we took the bike and the car, which was neat for people to see. You know, so often so many car companies started out doing something before cars, carriages or bikes, and it was nice to have the two together. So
Okay. And this is built in Reading too,
Reading,
so
yep.
that's why it's here in the museum.
And I have to note, for those of you who have been watching, if you see all this beautiful brass behind me on this Middleby, a few months ago we talked about our brass and how we keep it clean, and we had a volunteer, Matt, here working on it. This is how far he's progressed. He started on this back here. He's got to the horn and the one cowl light and a
Actually,
searchlight and-
actually, the acetylene generator in the back there is what he was doing on the TV
yes,
show.
that's what he
had,
started on
so,
the TV show. So, and that was
months ago.
a few months ago.
and
It takes
it's
a long, it's a
long
long
time.
process, but he's moving his way up to the front of the car. It's got shiny hubcaps now too.
Okay.
I can't see those.
Okay, right here we have our 1913 SGV. This is made in Reading, and it has a Fleetwood body, which is made in Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. And I understand this is going to Radnor's.
Yes, this will be going to the Radnor show. Again, the date for that is Sunday, September 13th. That's the concours. The whole event is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but the show is Sunday. So this will be here then. This was at the Hershey concours back in, I think that was June. Back in June,
Okay.
we took this to Hershey. And so it's going to be out again this September at Radnor. So you have to come see it and all the other beautiful, amazing cars they're going to have there.
And I'm going to interject one little thing here. When I think of concours, this is the type of thing I think of. You know, here it is. You won't see another one around. So there you go.
Yeah, so we need ideas for next month, guys. Any ideas? What do we need to talk about?
The proper use of white walls.
The improper use of white walls. I think.
You get you in a plaid shirt and look what happens.
Why don't you pitch it out to your vast viewership?
This is great. You know, we are looking for ideas. So if you would like to send us one, send us an email at Kendra, Kendra @BoyerTownMuseum.org.
Right.
We're always looking for ideas. So
We are working on one, possibly next month, possibly 2 months from now, is a guy who's a racing historian, and he has some really interesting stories, and hopefully he can bring a vintage race car here from maybe the 50s and 60s, somewhere in there.
that's our goal.
That's our goal. We're working on him right now before he moves to Florida. So,
So
okay.
we think, you know, until next time. That's good. We'll see you all next month. See you at Duryea Day.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, Dan, I'm sure you knew that we had a gift shop.
Oh, yes, I do know.
Yes, but maybe our viewers at home do not know. But, you know, we got lots of stuff for sale here. Please, if you're looking for like an automotive gift, something with our logo, a past Duryea Day item, those especially, what I last mentioned, the Duryea Day items, you know, those are really pretty good, well marked down too. So you'll find some good deals here. These are from past Duryea days. especially those glasses. They're really nice because they're nice, heavy-duty glasses. I know I break glasses all the time at home, even just putting them in the dishwasher. These are really nice and heavy-duty. We also got lots of stuff with our logo on them. We got nice shirts, sweatshirts, hats, thermoses, coffee mugs, the travel mugs, and also very popular are diner mugs. If you come here for Diner Day, you've been here in the past, you've probably seen us selling those diner mugs. Well, they're not just for sale on Diner Day, they're for sale all the time. And they're really neat. So, come here for that. Postcards, other car stuff like puzzles, if you've got someone you're looking to buy a gift for, automotive, please stop in. And our stuff is really reasonably priced too. So you can't really complain about that.
I have some shirts, and I wear them proudly. Got some hats. I proudly wear that at Hershey.
Yeah.
Make sure people know where I'm from. So.
Then we can find you easier.
Well, yeah. So if that's the case, we should have bright green ones.
We have some camo ones.
Yeah.
Camo hats.
But
that
everybody
makes you
else
blend
wears
in.
camo hats. So.
Well. But yeah, we've got lots of stuff here. So please, if you're looking for something, a gift for somebody or for yourself, don't forget us. And if you're a member of the museum, you do get a discount on your gift shop purchases. That's another thing. We do have membership levels. They're very reasonable. Individual memberships start at $25. That's a really great value. Members get a quarterly newsletter, and that covers a little bit of everything that goes on here, some history, upcoming events, photos and details from past events. It's good, right? You like the newsletter?
It is, yeah. Especially when I've
Good
contributed to it.
Especially your articles. Dan and I will both contribute stuff to the newsletter at times. And members also get into the museum free as many times as you want during the year. And that's a great value. You can come to Diner Day, both Diner Days, and not pay the admission, that means. And we have so many great events coming up this year that membership would come in handy. So, and if you're an individual, come to the museum 5 times, you might as well just buy a membership.
Right.
And then you'll get the newsletter.
Because, and I've noticed in the past couple years that we've kind of ramped up the membership benefits, about having free events and stuff for the members, and so that's pretty good.
It's a great value. So if you have any questions about any of this, the membership, stuff for sale in the gift shop, come visit us here at 85 South Walnut Street or call us at 610-367-2090, and we'd love to hear from you.
I was up in New York this past summer. I'm going down this state highway or something. This guy had a used car lot, and he had, in the showroom, I saw a couple of older cars. And so I did a U-turn, I pulled in there, and I saw the door open. And I walked in, and he had a whole collection of stuff. And he starts telling me about the Chevy pickup he had with a, it was about a 1950 Chevy pickup. And he took me outside, he had an enclosed trailer. And the whole bed of it was hydraulically, it was a dump that he got. And I've seen them more recent, but nothing like from the 50s. And it was an Anthony, the same people who do the Anthony lift gates and all that stuff, which, by the way, Boyertown Body was a dealer for Anthony. So I've seen advertisements, and they have all the dealers and stuff. But it was really interesting because if you can picture, you can picture like a 1950 Chevy pickup truck. Advanced Cab is their little logo thing, and the whole bed was raised up about 3 or 4 inches. But everything else was, it was all restored. So, of course, I invited him down to Dorrier Day. But he wasn't here.
Tailgates could have some legs.
Yeah. I think he was from Anion in New York, I think, outside of there somewhere. So there you go.
Interesting.
But anyway, you think we ought to do tailgates?
I don't know, it just struck me tonight. Because I remember in the past you said about bumpers, and that's kind of analyzing the evolution of a physical component of a vehicle that pretty much almost every vehicle has.
And don't you have to tie it in ultimately to an American tradition called tailgating.
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 Exactly.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
See, the subject's already expanding. We only got an hour. So, and if it's tailgating, somebody could bring in food.
We're back in food again. Hot dogs, hamburgers, huh?
Yeah.
Word Bulletin has access to many fine local butcher shops.
Excellent.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you make it after 4
Well,
Yeah, we could.
I have to say, Dan, it was
okay.
no, it was funny. I was visiting my parents the other weekend, and my mom comes up to me and she says, "I've been cleaning out, some room in the house, and I found these old photo albums of you kids. There's some funny pictures. You should look at this." I said, "Okay." So she pulls out this photo album, and I'm looking through, and there's in the middle, doesn't really fit the rest of the album, is this little photo of a car. And you'll see that on screen. And she said, "Oh, that was my..." Now, you have to know, my mom had no idea what we were talking about tonight. No clue that of our subject. She said, "That was my 1962 Chrysler Newport." And she said, it had a really neat dash on it. And she said, it had push-button transmission. And I said, "Give me that photo. I need it for the show." She was not rehearsed or coached in any way, shape, or form. And she told me she bought that car for $325.
Wow.
And she used it, she said it got her through college and student teaching. And she ended up selling it to a cousin, and then she bought a '68 Dodge Charger.
Your mom has a 68.
She did.
Wow.
She did.
Okay. Green.
Green, yeah. She
Yeah,
loved that
okay.
car. Yeah. But
That's-
that was
That's interesting.
her '62 Chrysler. And then another photo I have there that you'll see is of a dash. It's not that particular car's dash.
I was looking at
the
this
push
picture
buttons.
earlier, and I don't know if you noticed it, but look at the shape of the steering wheel there. It's not round.
It's a little funky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. And I've seen Chrysler products like, I think an Imperial or something, is basically a square steering wheel. I mean, it's kind of roundish square. It's very distinctive shape.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, I even have in my notes here something about a steering wheel, so there's another future topic of steering wheels. So,
Perfect.
okay.
Well, Dan, I'm sure you knew that we had a gift shop.
Oh, yes, I do know.
Yes, so maybe our viewers at home do not know, but we've got lots of stuff for sale here. Please, if you're looking for like an automotive gift, something with our logo, a past Duryea Day item, those especially, what I last mentioned, the Duryea Day items, those are really pretty good, well marked down too, so you'll find some good deals here. These are from past Duryea days. Especially those glasses, they're really nice because they're nice heavy-duty glasses. I know I break glasses all the time at home, even just putting them in the dishwasher. These are really nice and heavy-duty. We also got lots of stuff with our logo on them. We got nice shirts, sweatshirts, hats, thermoses, coffee mugs, the travel mugs, and also very popular are diner mugs. If you come here for Diner Day, you've been here in the past, you've probably seen us selling those diner mugs. Well, they're not just for sale on Diner Day, they're for sale all the time. And they're really neat. So, come here for that. Postcards, other card stuff like puzzles, if you've got someone you're looking to buy a gift for, automotive, please stop in. And our stuff is really reasonably priced too. So you can't really complain about that.
I have some shirts. I wear them proudly. Got some hats. I proudly wear that at Hershey.
Yeah.
Make sure people know where I'm from.
Then we can find you easier.
So, well, yeah. Yeah. So if that's the case, we should have bright green ones.
Look at camo ones.
Yeah.
Camo hats.
But
That
everybody
makes you
else
blend
wears
in.
camo hats. So.
But yeah, we've got lots of stuff here. So please, if you're looking for something, a gift for somebody or for yourself, don't forget us. And if you're a member of the museum, you do get a discount on your gift shop purchases. That's another thing. We do have membership levels They're very reasonable. Individual memberships start at $25. That's a really great value. Members get a quarterly newsletter, and that covers a little bit of everything that goes on here, some history, upcoming events, photos and details from past events. It's good, right? You like the
It
newsletter?
is, yeah. Especially when I've
Good answer.
contributed to it.
Especially your articles. Dan and I will both contribute stuff to the newsletter at times. And members also get into the museum free as many times as you want during the year. And that's a great value. You can come to Diner Day, both Diner Days, and not pay the admission, that means. And we have so many great events coming up this year that membership would come in handy. So, and if you're an individual, come to the museum 5 times, you might as well just buy a membership.
Right,
And then you'll get the
right.
newsletter.
Because, and I've noticed in the past couple years that we've kind of ramped up the membership benefits, you know, about having free events and stuff for the members, and so that's pretty good.
It's a great value. So if you have any questions about any of this, the membership, stuff for sale in the gift shop, come visit us here at 85 South Walnut Street, or call us at 610-367-2090, and we'd love to hear from you.